The peace of a spring morning was shattered as Marcus Reynolds, a 38-year-old corporate lawyer, stepped into the backyard of his new suburban Atlanta home. His coffee cup shook as he headed towards the guest house at the back of his newly purchased colonial home on Pineview Lane. He had spent weeks transforming the 600-square-foot studio into a rental gym, complete with fresh paint, appliances, and hand-picked furnishings, with the ultimate goal of having it on Airbnb by the end of the month. But something was off now. The curtains he had left open to let the paint air out were closed. Muddy footprints soiled the new welcome mat. Marcus's heart rate sped up as he heard shuffling inside. Someone was rummaging through the drawers. "Hello?" he yelled, his voice strained with worry. The noise ceased. He flung open the door, pushing it wide to a room in chaos. Clothes were strewn across the sofa, takeout containers adorned the coffee table, and dirty dishes stacked up in the sink. Frozen in the bedroom doorway was a middle-aged woman with brassy blonde hair, clad in a pink bathrobe and fuzzy slippers. Her scowl transformed from shock to indignation. "Who are you, and what are you doing in my house?" and she demanded, with hands akimbo. Marcus's eyes went wide with surprise. "Your house? This is my guest house on my property. Who are you?" The woman, later identified as Lorraine Baxter, laughed. "Don't be ridiculous. I've been renting here for a week. I rented it on renhaven.com from a man named Kevin Marshall." She waved a rumpled piece of paper, claiming to have paid cash to Marshall, who had given her keys. Keys that Marcus recognized as the spares he kept in his garden shed. A scam was afoot, but Lorraine's next few words ignited Marcus's rage. "I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm not leaving. I have tenant rights. Go back where you came from, and we can forget this." The racial undertone was clear, and Marcus, a seasoned lawyer, knew he was dealing with more than a clueless squatter. 3 months prior, Marcus had just closed on his dream home after 15 years of grinding at Lawson & Burke, a white-shoe Atlanta law firm. The home, with its large yard and charming guest house, was his reward, a haven to build stability and wealth. He spent his weekends renovating the guest house, which he hoped would be a reliable source of income. That Wednesday, a valuable day off, he was to meet an internet technician to finish the installation. But to discover Lorraine Baxter busy in his meticulously crafted space sent everything topsy-turvy. "Mrs. Baxter," he said, standing firm, even as outrage simmered within, "you've been scammed. I'm Marcus Reynolds, the owner. I have proof of ownership, and I've never listed this property or authorized some Kevin Marshall. I can show the deed." Lorraine's eyes narrowed, her face dripping with disdain. "Your deed? Anyone can print papers. For all I know, you're squatting in the big house." The accusation, carried on a racial undercurrent, infuriated. Marcus went to his phone, scrolling through photos of the guest house renovations, each geotagged and dated. "I'm a lawyer, Mrs. Baxter. My life is well documented. You're trespassing." Lorraine snorted. "A lawyer? Sure you are." The racism stung, but Marcus had heard worse. Courtrooms, client meetings, even firm galas. It wasn't something he hadn't heard. "You have a choice," he said, his voice firm. "Pack up and be gone by the end of the day, or I call the police." Lorraine's eyes darted back and forth frantically. "I have nowhere to go. That Marshall guy stole all my money. $300 cash." Marcus's outrage subsided somewhat. "How did it go down? Did you meet him?" Lorraine admitted she had met Marshall at a coffee shop to hand over the money. It was a classic rental scam, rampant in Atlanta's hot market. "I'm sorry," Marcus said, "but that doesn't change the fact that you're here illegally." Lorraine's vulnerable expression hardened. "Convenient story. Maybe you're in collusion with Marshall, double-dipping on rent." The absurdity of the accusation nearly made him laugh, but Marcus remained composed. He held out his bar association card. "Verify my identity. I'm calling the police non-emergency line." Suddenly, Lorraine's expression shifted from confusion to cold calculation. She whipped out her phone and dialed 911, staring straight at Marcus. "There's an intruder in my home," she said, her voice shaking. "A large black man is threatening me. I'm scared for my life." 1482 Pineview Lane, Guest House. A frustrated woman in a pink silk robe and pajamas stands at the doorway of a suburban home, holding a vintage suitcase and gesturing angrily toward a man standing on the sidewalk. The man, wearing a gray t-shirt and jeans, listens with a stern expression. They're surrounded by a beautifully maintained garden with blooming flowers, trimmed hedges, and cozy suburban houses in the background. The atmosphere is tense, suggesting a heated domestic argument or an emotional breakup in a picturesque neighborhood